Vaishnavini ki jai. So let us have some, I want to read a couple of verses from where we left off at the Caitanya-Caritāmṛta, and then we'll do the Guru Puja in a couple of minutes. And I believe that was at text 50. Yeah, thank you very much. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Nena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Text 51. Iti Dwapara Ur Visha Stuvanti Jagadishvaram Nana Tantra Vidanena Kalavapi Yatashunu. O King, in this way people in Dwapara Yuga worship the Lord of the universe. In Kali Yuga, they also worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead by the regulations of the revealed scriptures. Kindly now hear of that from me. This verse was spoken by Saint Karabhajana in Srimad Bhagavatam 11.531. Krishna Varnam Tvasha Krishnam Sangopangastra Parshadam Jagnai Sankirtana Prayer Yajantihi Sumedasaha. In the age of Kali, intelligent persons perform congregational chanting to worship the incarnation of Godhead, who constantly sings the name of Krishna. Although his complexion is not blackish, he is Krishna himself. He is accompanied by his associates, servants, weapons, and confidential companions. Purport. This text is from Srimad Bhagavatam 11.532. Srila Jiva Goswami has explained this verse in his commentary on the Bhagavatam, known as Krama Sandarbha, wherein he says that Lord Krishna also appears with a golden complexion. That golden Lord Krishna is Lord Chaitanya, who is worshipped by intelligent men in this age. That is confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam by Garga Muni, who said that although the child Krishna was blackish, he also appears in three other colors, red, white, and yellow. He exhibited his white and red complexions in the Satya and Treta ages respectively. He did not exhibit the remaining color, yellow gold, until he appeared as Lord Chaitanya, who is known as Gaurahari. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that Krishna Varnam means Sri Krishna Chaitanya. Krishna Varna and Krishna Chaitanya are equivalent. The name Krishna appears in both Lord Krishna and Lord Chaitanya Krishna. Lord Śrī Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he always engages in describing Krishna and thus enjoys transcendental bliss by chanting and remembering his name and form. Lord Krishna himself appears as Lord Chaitanya to preach the highest gospel. Lord Chaitanya always chants the holy name of Krishna and describes it also. And because he is Krishna himself, whoever meets him will automatically chant the holy name of Krishna and later describe it to others. He injects one with transcendental Krishna consciousness, which merges the chanter in transcendental bliss. In all respects, therefore, he appears before everyone as Krishna, either by personality or by sound. In all respects, he appears before everyone as Krishna, either by personality or by sound. That's amazing. Simply by seeing Lord Chaitanya, one at once remembers Lord Krishna. One may therefore accept him as Vishnu Tattva. In other words, Lord Chaitanya is Lord Krishna himself. Sangopangastra Parshadam further indicates that Lord Chaitanya is Lord Krishna. His body is always decorated with ornaments of sandalwood and with sandalwood paste. By his super excellent beauty, he subdues all people of the age. In other descents, the Lord sometimes used weapons to defeat the demoniac, but in this age, the Lord subdues them with his all-attractive feature as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Jiva Goswami explains that his beauty is his astra, or weapon, to subdue the demons. Because he is all-attractive, it is to be understood that all the demigods lived with him as his companions. His acts were uncommon and his associates wonderful. When he propagated the Sankirtan movement, he attracted many great scholars and acharyas, especially in Bengal and Orissa. Lord Chaitanya is always accompanied by his best associates like Lord Nityananda, Advaita, Gadadhar, and Srivas. Srila Jiva Goswami cites a verse from the Vedic literature which says that there is no necessity of performing sacrificial demonstrations or ceremonial functions. He comments that instead of engaging in such external pompous exhibitions, all people, regardless of caste, color, or creed, can assemble together and chant Hare Krishna to worship Lord Chaitanya. Krishna Varnam Tusha Krishnam indicates that prominence should be given to the name of Krishna. Lord Chaitanya taught Krishna consciousness and chanted the name of Krishna. Therefore, to worship Lord Chaitanya, everyone should together chant the Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. To propagate worship in churches, temples, or mosques is not possible because people have lost interest in that. But anywhere and everywhere, people can chant Hare Krishna. Thus, worshiping Lord Chaitanya, they can perform the highest activity and fulfill the highest religious purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord. Srila Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, a famous disciple of Lord Chaitanya, said, the principle of transcendental devotional service having been lost, Sri Krishna Chaitanya has appeared in order to deliver again the process of devotion. He is so kind that he is distributing love of Krishna. Everyone should be attracted more and more to his lotus feet as humming bees are attracted to a flower. And now let's just be in the Zoom room for a minute. And so let's see, first of all, if you had any reflections, like how from the seminar this morning, just overall impressions. The program, it was recorded, so we'll be able to edit out the technical glitch in the beginning, which was a result of one box not being checked. But so the whole seminar, which we restarted, will be edited, so that part just starts at the beginning video and goes all the way through. So just take that part out of your mind. And what was the overall effect, or any kind of feedback that you have? Impressions?
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Just on the point where you were mentioning about that technical glitch, I just was looking at the rest of the video and the content that was there. It was something very unique that was representing a very personal story. And I think that really made an impression on everyone who was there, and they were able to see how that story that was told in the beginning really touched their life. At least it touched mine, where the character in the story was actually reawakening their connection with the books. And I think that carried through throughout the presentation and left a deep impression.
Fantastic. Yeah, Balaram Tirtha Prabhu wrote that story. We had considered different scenarios, but then Havi Prabhu mentioned that he's really good at stories and musical lyrics and so forth. So Bali Prabhu came up with that. I think it reflects, especially the end, the impetus, passing on the same vibration to the next generation that he's probably experiencing now, since he has a daughter. And I'm glad that it had that effect, that it was a personal story, and therefore it was meaningful to you. Thank you very much, Priya. And you did a great job passing on the different questions and things like that. And the Kirtan was great. Yeah. And I really liked, Monisha, how you kept the vibration going there with during the chasm of mistakes that took place. Thank you. Okay, what other impressions or feedback?
So Maharaj, I have the same. I had the same experience as what Priya Kishori Mataji was saying. That when I was listening to that story, I was like, "Oh, large part of that is my story, right?" I was not, except for I was not sitting on a bench when it appeared, but the Bhagavad Gita sort of just appeared in my life and then completely changed it, and how I used to look forward to reading it and the difference in the quality of the content from the mundane literature that I was so used to reading to finding something transcendental. And I was also just thinking that, well, my thought was we should have more of these such seminars, just by how much it inspired. So I was listening to the reflections that others were sharing here, and I was just thinking that, you know, this kind of evangelism of Srila Prabhupada's reading of Srila Prabhupada books is so much a required thing.
Yeah, that's a good point. That there's a lot of people actually, they want to do it, but they haven't found the inspiration, and so it was kind of an inspired idea that Tapana Mishra had to have this seminar. And he has what it's International Reading Week. It starts the day after Bhadra Purnima, so that it's going to promote, you know, the reading of Prabhupada's books for the whole week. You had more. Go ahead.
Yeah, like you know, yesterday I was just reading, as we were reading Srimad Bhagavatam, where Ashwatthama was mentioned, and then I just wanted to tell them a little bit more. So I said, okay, let's read from the Mahabharata by Krishna Dharma Prabhu on what Ashwatthama did and all that. And we were reading that, and there was a question, and I didn't know the answer. And at that point, I told them, like, look here, this is where you missed Srila Prabhupada's purports. Because whenever there's something catchy in the translations or somewhere, you immediately find that Prabhupada has answered that in the purport. So that makes Prabhupada's books even more valuable and rich.
Yes. Actually, a few years ago, I was talking to Sri Dayananda Maharaj, and I said, which version of the Mahabharata do you recommend? And he said, oh, I just recommend the Bhagavatam. It's all in there. Because so many different versions have been interpolated, and you have to go back to the Bhagavatam to corroborate. Anyway, that was his feeling. Although hearing the Mahabharata, I know Nirkula just listened to the whole thing recently, and I happened to be walking in and out of the house hearing it at different intervals, and it's very captivating, isn't it? To hear the personal stories of Kunti and the different Pandavas. It kind of synergizes our reading of the Bhagavatam in the context, right?
Yes, definitely. Yeah.
Thank you, Shraddha. Thanks for the feedback.
Thank you,
Krishna Maharaj. Maharaj, I think the 2 days seminar is just, I think the two observation which I had it, we have probably more than 600 people on the Zoom chat, and this is probably first time I've probably seen that many devotees across the globe connected, and they are all sucking in all the nectars which they could, because you just not only, you know, gave a presentation, but they are looking for more for aspiration about how to do practically in their life, and giving those practical tips, which is like, you know, when you're leading by example, how I do it, it becomes not only authentic, it becomes like people, I see on the comment chart, is feel like this is what they were looking for. You know, the last thing, they know that they need to read Prabhupada books, but how you are doing it, and how you just, you know, simplified it and encouraged to the level from going from, you know, one single page to, you know, become a sage. I mean, that whole gap is so big, but everybody felt like a completely satisfied. And looking at their comment, I felt like this dose probably we need a monthly basis for worldwide community, so that way we remain fixed in our goal. So thank you, Maharaj.
Okay, we'll do it.
Hare Krishna Maharaj.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for the very nice session. Actually, I thought the background music, maybe by Habib Prabhu, it was out of the world. It was so.
You said you liked the music?
The background music with the slides, especially at the beginning of the slide and the end of the slide. You know, that's really, it was out of the world and very transcendental. Yeah, that quite matched with the content.
Did you like the theme song?
Yes, it was amazing. And also, Prabhu, regarding all the tips I've seen, I mean, they have been really helpful. Okay, one question actually I had regarding like reading in a group or with like-minded people. I know you discuss it sometimes. How effective is that?
It's the most effective. Of course, everything's effective. And as I tried to portray in this seminar, it has a lot to do with taste. There's no one or right or wrong way to do this, because everyone has different ways. I know there's a place I travel where there's some devotees who are particularly dedicated to going very slowly. And they had this idea like, that's the only way to do it. You have to go slow. You can't go fast. I was like, why? Whoever wrote such a rule, you go slow, fast, whatever way you want to do it. And in groups, it's actually very helpful because you get some synergy. When you're sitting in a group and reading, then you get the amplified realizations of the other devotees. Like they'll say, oh, this is how I heard it. So what Prabhupada said was, you should discuss thoroughly, threadbare, and from different angles of seeing. Prabhupada's cadence, he said, you should discuss thoroughly, threadbare. And so when you think of something that's threadbare, you think of like a coat. You've worn it so many times. Like I have a sweatshirt that Devamrita Swami gave me when he came here a couple of years ago, and I wear it every day. And now it's all worn out, but I keep wearing it because he gave it to me. So it's threadbare, and so our books should be threadbare. They should look like you've been through them about 1,000 times, and looked at every page, and they've been around the planet. There's a little sand in there from the beaches of Mexico and every other place because you've taken it. And the way we discuss with others in a group and get their feelings, and then someone may say, oh, I saw it like this, or what about that? When you go into those kinds of discussions and you come out with more questions than you have answers, then you're in this hungry state like, oh, now I want to know more about the subject matter. And this is very much helped by having a group of like-minded devotees who have this desire to hear and chant the same way you do. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said you should hear in the association of like-minded devotees who are more advanced than yourself. If you do that, then you'll make progress. Thank you, Prabhu. Okay. Yes.
Prabhu, I just wanted to know that, so listening is also as good as reading, right? Or we should...
It's all good.
Yeah, because you get to listen a lot while you're cooking or driving or, while doing other chores. So I tend to listen a lot more than actually read. So
yeah, it's all good. But it's nice to mix things up and get a little variety also.
Yeah, and I just also wanted to mention that I really love the seminar. I mean, so many important points. I just have to go back and revise. I just wanted to mention that my association with Malini has helped me enormously to read every day. And I thought that, as you said, you need to have some mentor or someone who can help you increase the amount of reading that you do. So she's like, she reads every day, doesn't matter what happens. So I used to tell her that I'm not too sure if I can read as much as you, but then just being with her, I think I have kind of caught up at least reading 4 pages a day. So I just wanted to mention that I think having another person who actually is already doing it really helps. Yes.
Having an accountability partner or a mentor who keeps you reading. I mean, I wouldn't have gone through the Bhakti Vaibhav and be this far along in the Bhaktivedanta test without Srivas Pandit Prabhu because, he's very gentle with me. He knows that I'm busy. I'm not as busy as all of you, but, for me, my capacity is lower, so it takes... So, but he keeps me going. And if you have somebody, and I mentioned Keshava Bharati Maharaj, we're always reading together and discussing, that really pulls us along in life. You got to have good association. So find a reading partner or find an accountability partner. If you don't have the drive to finish it all the time, get somebody else that will pull you along or push you. Malini, go ahead.
Ruchi, thank you so much for the seminar, Prabhu, today. The part where you said, write down the goal that every day I will read at least 1 hour of Srila Prabhupada's books. When I actually wrote it down on the paper, I felt such a relief after that because I thought like now I don't have to worry about what I need to prioritize because my priority is already set. I may have many other services, many other things to finish, but now my priority is this. So it was such a relief. So I just want to thank you for the seminar in general, but that was such a wonderful point. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Molly. That's very heartfelt, and I'm glad that that it had that effect, the writing it down. I found that myself. I know I've mentioned this several times, but it's really an important point to write down your priorities. And once you write them down, now Caitanya-Caritāmṛta told me once, he said, you can always edit a bad page, but you can never edit a blank page. And one of the ways in which it's possible to not make progress is say, well, I don't want to write anything because I don't know what to say. I don't want to put my priorities down because what will I put? So just put something down. Start where you are. And, yesterday, an old friend called me. He's a bit of a pundit and a very smart person. And we got into this long conversation. And he said, what are you doing lately? How are you doing things? I said, I wrote down my goals and priorities. I do this regularly. Oh, can I hear them? So I said, all right, I'll share them with you. And I started reading them. And he goes, oh man, this is amazing. Oh, I can't believe it. Send them to me. He said, I have some ideas to add to your thing. And so just the fact that I had them, I'm thinking, ho hum, here's just my thing. But when somebody else hears it, then you kind of get the feedback of how impactful it is. And so start with, what do you want to get out of your life, and write it down and make sure it's clear. Because if you have that, then you can always refine it as you go forward, and it'll be the driving force. Because there's an old saying, and I got this from Guy Kawasaki, one of the founders of Apple. He wrote in his book, Art of the Start. He said, frame or be framed. If you don't frame how you want your life to be, then someone else will come in and frame it for you. So framing takes time almost every day to say, this is what my priorities are. Other people, they'll impose their priorities upon you unless you decide for yourself, this is my priority. And it was actually the number one question from the seminar today. How do I get started? How do I do this? When I talked to Keshavarti Maharaj months ago about, I'm going to do a seminar about how to read Prabhupada's books. And he said, well, there's just one line in the whole thing. He said, just start reading. You just read the book, start reading. There's lots of things you can say, but get into it. Thanks, Malini.
Well, I also wanted to say that the accountability, what you were mentioning is also important. And I think I derive inspiration from Sukheshwari, actually. And I am scared that she'll ask me, so I keep reading. So it's just mutual respect and mutual inspiration from each other.
Yes. Very good. That's the power of association. Go ahead, Monisha. Was that you, Monisha? Yes.
I wanted to, your point about how you can edit a bad page but not a blank page really made me at ease, because when you had asked us early in the morning to write it down, I was hesitant because once I write it down, I have to commit to it. So I was very hesitant, but I still wrote it down. So I think now that we can edit that page as we're going along makes me feel much better. And also your point about how it's not time that we lack, but taste, it really hit me, because I found I have taste for so many other things and many of it is nonsense, but we can develop that taste for chanting, reading, and hearing.
Thank you for sharing that. One way we can measure ourselves, one of the symptoms of being in anarta nivritti stage is that when the reading starts, then I start yawning. Because the sleep, laya, is one of the anartas. So there's a way in which you might check yourself and say, oh, I'm all up for everything else. We're talking about how such and such is, washing machine broke, or, isn't it interesting that the city got flooded, or whatever it is. And then it's like, let's read Caitanya-Caritāmṛta. And they're like, oh, all right, go ahead. Let's just do it quickly, though. And then, so this is a kind of primordial envy and reluctance to actually be with Krishna, to hear about Krishna, and it's an anarta. And we can overcome that by taking the time to hear, because it'll catch fire, because it's spiritually potent. And when we hear it enough times, repeatedly we hear it, then it'll start to change us, and that sleep will actually evaporate and will turn into an eagerness to hear. Madguna shruti matrena mai sarvo gahashaye we know we're rising above the modes when we become very eager to hear. Okay. Anyone else?
Hare Krishna, Vaisesika Maharaj. This is Ankita. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much for the seminar. I think one thing that struck for me, I think will be with me for entire life, will be like reading is as much prioritized as we eat. Like when you reply to Rasika Shirumani Mataji, and I was always confused to what degree we should be prioritizing reading, and it only took COVID for me to actually start reading very seriously. But even now we are giving away Srimad Bhagavatam gifts for Bhadra campaign, and people are overwhelmed and they're asking. So I was just thinking that if we don't take it seriously, if I don't know the gravity of how Srila Prabhupada text, how will I be able to spread that? It's not just the cover, it's beyond that as well, much beyond that. So thank you so much. That was a really good point.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you very much. I'm so glad you said that. Because it's one of my favorite examples for myself. I can ask myself, I don't have time for this or that, but when the Śrī Vijayajal prayer starts, I come running. It's like, I got to be there. I got to be there. You don't want to miss it. So everything else, like, okay, I'll try, but not try for prasadam. I'll definitely be there. So if we can develop that type of eagerness, then there's a sign, we've got a sign of spiritual health. Yes.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, thank you so much. We'll just take one or two more.
I think, sorry.
Yes, go ahead, Priya.
Oh, Sadhu had something to say, and he had messaged me, but I think he can say it.
Hare Krishna, Sadhu.
Please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada. I liked how you said you should, in the webinar, you should read the scriptures to please Lord Krishna. And it's not that I read every day, but sometimes I read because, I want to become like really well versed in the scriptures, like Srivatsa, Vantika Manisha, Balaram, and many other kids. But now I realize that that's not the point. We have to read to please Krishna and understand the scriptures to eventually go back to Godhead.
That's a nice mood you have there, Sadhu Vrindavan. I like that a lot. I would say also it's okay to want to be well versed as well. There's nothing wrong with that. The overarching mood of reading really is service, but it's also service to become well versed. As long as we have that mood when we're presenting Bhagavad Gita and we're able to say, oh, it's right here. This is the verse. This follows in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada and all the acharyas who were very much fixed on speaking in spiritual circles with discipline, which means that you speak on the basis of evidence. You always present the pramanam. And this is one of the differences between a Madhyama Adhikari and an Uttama Adhikari. As mentioned in the Shastra, the Uttama Adhikari is well-versed, is called Shastra Sunipuna, knows how all the Shastras fit together, and knows how to quote from them, like a good lawyer can say, oh, this is a case, that's a case from this year, and so forth. And therefore, we should want to become well-versed, like the devotees you mentioned, and we should also do it in a mood that is of service. So that's not prohibited. It's just, I was saying in the seminar, if there are some people that don't have a propensity for memorizing verses and things like that, they're not barred either from taking the essence of hearing and chanting and reading Prabhupada's books. Yeah.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, we have
Hare Krishna.
Priya Prabhu, who's raising his hand for last night.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Haribol Prabhuji, I had lots of points that I noted and I didn't know which to save and which to print. So I was just taking screenshots of your presentation. It was so nice. Every point I thought like I should frame it. So it was so deep. I really liked the point that you made, like mindlessly. That's the point with which you started the seminar, of like staring at the screen mindlessly. And then you related it to the content, to the contentment, which really means a lot for this generation and this day and age in which we live. Like mindlessly going from one content to another content. And that really caught my attention. And I also wanted to add to what Radhakripa Prabhu said, that even though we had glitches in the beginning, all the people, like 500, 600 devotees, like with single pointed attention, they were so eagerly waiting to hear. So it really increased my attachment to continue to read Srila Prabhupada's books with so much enthusiasm that so many devotees are hankering for. So I just wanted to share that, Prabhu.
Thank you very much, Gandharvika. So encouraging. Yeah, and we meant to do that. We did it on purpose so we could see who was actually focused and wanted to stay. We wanted to shake off all the slackers. Just
Guru Maharaj, I have one point to add. Can you hear me?
Oh, yes, please.
Yes.
I can hear you.
Maharaj, I was also thinking, typically in other communities at ISKCON, the lecture is almost like 40 minutes, 45 minutes. And, surprisingly, many of them maybe first time got a taste of being in a 2 hour and 2.5 hour lecture. But if you see the number of participants, it didn't drop. It was there like taking till 500 hours. So I think it is probably the purity as is the force, as you mentioned many times, which sticks things, and they felt it is really valuable. So it's a testimony about, if there is a nectar, people will stick to it. So just want to share that.
Thank you very much, Prabhu.
Prabhu, can I make another point?
Yes, please.
Prabhu, I really appreciated the point that you made about keeping a book with you and wear it out threadbare. For a person like me who didn't grow up reading books so much, the other day I was reading the Bhagavad Gita and I was making notes on it, and it was my personal copy, I thought, and I started marking it. And Gita Priya came to me and she said that, "Did you see, this is my book?" And then she actually wrote her name on it. And then I thought, like, what is a big deal about it? And then she said that I wanted to grow old with this book. I wanted this book to be my personal copy, which I wanted to read many, many times and make notes of it. So then I felt the attachment that people generally have for books, which I never had. And it was very profound at that point, that how we should take those books to be persons, and then you grow up with it. I never connected that, but today after your class also, I was just connecting to that. It was very inspiring.
Well, that's amazing sentiment. I wanted to grow old with this book. And that it is a heartfelt connection we have to Krishna, to the acharyas, to Srila Prabhupada through his books, and that the ones that we carry with us can become so meaningful, such a meaningful attachment. Daru Brahma, Pushta Krishna's wife, I interviewed her a while back for my book because she had a unique story, and I always noticed she was very inspired about book distribution. But at a mall when she was young, she bought a Bhagavatam, first canto, from a devotee and took it home, didn't know what it was, and didn't even read it for a couple of years, but she always was attracted to the book and kept it near her. And then one night she read it and it changed her life. It's a very relatable story, that happened. So, it's something that Krishna extends himself to us through these books, and it really is a portal to the spiritual world. Did you notice that part when he finds in the story the book on the bench, and then he's walking away, and you see Krishna in a raincoat there?
Yes, Prabhuji, that was very nice.
When I was previewing that to a few friends, one of them, I saw tears coming down. It became like an emotional thing, because I think devotees can relate to that in the same way as when Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did the Mahaprakash. He was giving his association to all the devotees, and the first time revealing that he was the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And he called each devotee before him, and he said, "Do you remember the time, for instance, with Gangadas, you were being chased by dacoits, and you came to the Ganga and you were about to drown it, all of you, because you didn't want to be molested. And then a boat showed up in the middle of the night and took you to the other side. That was me," Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said. And Ganga fell to the floor just weeping, knowing that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was there with him the whole time. And I think devotees react to that because they have this sense that, yes, Krishna's been there for me all the time. He's always with me, bringing me on this journey. It's just that I don't see him. But when you remember that that's who it was, that he's personally watching out for you, sending you these ways to come back to him, then it becomes extremely powerful. So I think that we should have our Guru Puja now so that everyone can take prasadam and move on, because you've all been diligently listening and also sitting for many, many hours. So let's have a Jamulus Guru Puja and then prasadam for everybody. Hare Krishna. Srivatsa, are you there? Or somebody else who's on Jamulus, I'll have to play drum because mine is completely dead right now.
I can play, Prabhu.
Oh, okay, please do.
What did he?
Namashrestam manamapi shachiputra matra sarupam Shirupam tasya grajam urupurim mathurim goshtavatim Radha kundam girivaramaho radhika, everyone, madhavasham prapto yasya pratichakripaya shri gurum tam natosmi. He Guru Gyanada Dinabando Swanandadata Karunayika Sindho Vrindavana Sinahika Vata Prasita Radha Pranaya Prachara. He Dinabando Karunayika Sindho Guru Prasada Mahimanda Mudhe Laksha Parade Bahupapagade I bow down to the beautiful lotus feet of my spiritual master, by whose causeless mercy I have obtained the supreme holy name, the divine mantra, the service of the son of Shachi Mata, the association of Srila Swarup Damodar, Rupa Goswami and his older brother Sanatana Goswami, the supreme abode of Mathura, the blissful abode of Vrindavan, the divine Radhakunda and Govardhana Hill, and the desire within my heart for the loving service of Shri Radhika and Madhava in Vrindavan. O spiritual master, O giver of divine wisdom, O friend of the fallen, you are the giver of your own bliss, and you are the only ocean of mercy. Although dwelling in Vrindavan, you have descended for the welfare of fallen souls like myself, and you are preaching the divine love of Radha for Krishna. Please be kind upon me. O friend of the lowly, O Gurudev, you are the only ocean of mercy. I am a dull fool and have committed hundreds of thousands of offenses. I have fallen into a dense myriad of sins. Therefore grace me with your mercy, so that my mind may be fixed on your lotus feet and on Sri Krishna. The lotus feet of our spiritual master are the only way by which we can attain pure devotional service. I bow down to his lotus feet with great awe and reverence. By his grace, one can cross the ocean of material suffering and obtain the mercy of Krishna. Our only wish is to have our consciousness purified by the words emanating from his lotus mouth. Attachment to his lotus feet is the perfection and fulfills all desires. He opens our darkened eyes and fills our hearts with transcendental knowledge. He is our Lord, birth after birth. From him, ecstatic prema emanates. By him, ignorance is destroyed. The Vedic scriptures sing of his character. Our spiritual master is the ocean of mercy, the friend of the poor, and the Lord and master of the devotees. O Master, be merciful unto us. Give us the shade of your lotus feet. Your fame is spread all over the three worlds. Sri Guru Sharana Padma Kevalabha Kahati Sadma. Prasare pure sarva asha. Je prasade pure sarva. Dan dilo je janme janme prabhu she. Faster vidya gyan vire prokashita. Prima bhakti ja hoite avidya vinasa jate. Jahara Charita. Shri Guru Karuna Sindhu Adhamma Janara Tribhuvana. Prabhu Kora Doya Deho More Pada Chaya. Prabhu Kora Doya Deho More Pada Chaya. Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Śrī Mate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Reshatarine. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Krishna Bhadra Krishna Koro Krishna Shika
Bola Krishna Bhadra Krishna Bola Krishna Shika
Apararashna Hoy Loha Krishna Nam
Apararashna Hoy Loha Krishna Nam
Krishna Mata Krishna Pita Krishna Dana Pran
Krishna Mata Krishna Pita Krishna Dana
Krishna Samsara Koro Chari Anacha
Krishna Samsara Koro Chari Anacha
Jive Doya Krishna Na Sarva Dharma Sa Dariya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Dariya Godrume Nityananda Mahajan Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Go Premanande Hari Bol Chant Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaur Hari Bol Jai Jaya Prabhupada Prabhupada Jai Jaya Prabhupada Jai Gaur Premanande Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Shri Harinam Mantra Ki Shri Harinam Prabhu Ki Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivraja Kacharya Stotra Shimana Bhai Charanana Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jai Om Vishnupad Paramhamsa Parivraja Kacharya Stotra Shimad Srila Bhakti Siddhanta
Oh my
Saraswati
God.
Swami Maharaj Ki
I
Jai
haven't danced.
Priya.
Ananta Koti Vaishnavini Ki Jai
Jai.
Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai
Jai.
Prem Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai
Jai.
Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gokupinath Shamakund Radhakund Giri Govardhan Ki Jai Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Shri Mayapur Nam Deep Dham Ki Jai Shri Jagannath Puri Dham Ki Jai Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Samveda Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai. Oh, glorious assembled devotees. Oh, glorious assembled devotees. Oh, glorious the assembled devotees. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Now, since we're always staying engaged so we can make progress, primarily we keep taking risks for Lord Chaitanya just so he can come and save us and make up for whatever goals we set for ourselves, even if they look impossible. And this is the way we develop our relationship with Krishna, by depending on him more and more. And we're pushing forward the Sankirtan movement. Now we'll probably have some announcements right now to give us an idea where we are now and what kind of goals we have for the day and for the next couple of weeks, if there's even that much time left before Bhadra Purnima. Malini, did you want to say anything about our status and what our duties are today?
Yes, Prabhu. Our goal that we announced for North America was that we will distribute 500 sets of Bhagavatam for Bhadra Purnima. Actually, we just found out that we already finished our 500 sets of Bhagavatam. So now, but now what we want to do is we wanted to increase it. We wanted to revise our goal to see if we can do 700 sets of Bhagavatam. It's a lofty goal, I know, but I was thinking we can increase it to 700 sets. I wanted to check if it's an okay idea to do that.
Sadhu Vrindavan, what do you think? Can we do it?
Haribo, we can do it.
Sadhu has spoken. We can do it. Let's do it.
Yes, Prabhu.
Yes.
So with your blessings, then we will shoot for 700 Srimad Bhagavatam sets.
Okay.
And the thing is that tomorrow there is a very special class that is being organized. And this class is actually in preparation for Bhadra Purnima. Prabhu, would you like to say something about it?
Yes. This is a global effort. We're doing locally here at ISV, but one of the objectives of Bhadra Purnima is to bring unity to all of the devotees in the world through book distribution, and to have unity in our book distribution. That is, to use our collective power to brainstorm, to goal set, to have economies of scale through cooperation and sharing, so that we can compete against ourselves to make the planet awash with Bhagavatams and with Bhagavad Gitas and so forth. So in the spirit of that, we've been having international meetings with leaders from around the world. Last week we had a meeting with Indian leaders. I invited His Holiness Radhanath Swami to come to join the call tomorrow morning. And he very graciously agreed, even though he had to reschedule other programs. He said anytime that he has an opportunity to associate with the devotees of ISV, he will always make an exception. So he'll be on the call. And also we have Bhakti Raghava Swami, who will be beaming in from India in some place, who's one of the great champions of the Bhadra cause and has been promoting it for many years, along with the awareness of rural development projects around the world. He's combining the two very ingeniously. And also the great leader of Indian Sankirtan, Bhima Prabhu, will join. So in a show of solidarity, I'll be driving that call tomorrow so that everyone can glorify Bhagavatam, give inspiration according to their realizations, and everyone who joins the call will be able to walk away with some newfound enthusiasm to distribute Bhagavatam, seeing how united everyone is.
Thank you, Prabhu. And the call starts at 7 a.m. tomorrow. So we would like everyone to join and get some inspiration. And for the Bhadra campaign, there is also a yajna. There is a Maha Yajna. This is Narasimha Sudarshana Yajna that has been organized on September 2nd, because that is the day of Bhadra Purnima in India. And it is organized at Ahobilam. This is the Narasimha Kshetra where Lord Nrsimhadev appeared, and that original pillar is still there. And in this yajna, what we are doing is that anybody who participates in this Bhadra Purnima Three ways to participate. One is that you get a set for yourself, or you can gift or sponsor a set for somebody else, or you can at least give 5 referrals who will potentially take Srimad Bhagavatam. Your name will be included in the yajna, which means your name will be offered ceremoniously in the yajna as an ahuti. And this is also to pray for the well-being of all the devotees also because of the current situation. So that is a golden opportunity. So please tell your friends about it. Please tell your family members about it. I just wanted to share that last week I shared this with my family members in India. And immediately 5 sets of Bhagavatams were sponsored. They said, I want to do it, I want to do it.
Oh.
And they were trying to find who can they give it to. And it was very encouraging. So I think everybody should share that.
You know, I think that's a really exemplary incident you mentioned, and it reminded me that we should also give a little bit of instruction to people where they can give the Bhagavatams to, like what they can say to people. If we give them some talking points when we inspire people to give sets, like here's what you can tell people when you're giving it to them so they don't take it for granted. They could get the most out of it. Well, that's amazing, Malini, that we hit our 500 and now we're going for 700. That'll be really nice to have this kind of a showing in North America. And North America is really picking up. And hopefully tomorrow with Rannath Swami's inspiration that more and more devotees will become aware of the importance of this day.
Yes, Prabhuji. Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay.
And today we will continue with our calling party, but we will focus mainly on how we can promote this Bhadra campaign during the call and how we can get more and more sponsorships. And on the day of Radhashtami, if that is okay, we also will have a call on the day of Radhashtami that you can pledge or try to sponsor. And the most important thing is if you want a set to be shipped outside of Bay Area, your shipments or your addresses should be given before Radhashtami so that we can ship it to you so it could reach before Bhadra Purnima. We'll try our best to do that. So Venudari Gopal Prabhu has just mentioned that before Radhashtami, you have to give in your addresses. I think Srivatsa wanted to say something. Srivatsa? Oh no, okay. I thought you raised your hand. So.
Malini, I had a good question. When is Radha
Yes.
on a date wise? When is that?
Tuesday. It's this Tuesday.
Coming Tuesday? Okay.
Yes, that's right.
Okay. And also for the program that Maharaj, you were mentioning for the program tomorrow that it is local. So I didn't get that point. Is it that for the local audience? It's more to do with ISV?
No, it's a worldwide call. I think we're opening it up to the Zoom room will be wide open to 1,000, right?
Okay, we'll use some
Yes.
a Zoom room, and I was just thinking that given the way it went today, like we sort of ran out of time. So I'll be planning something similar for tomorrow because I'm pretty sure there'll be a lot more people.
What do you mean people in time? I'm not sure what you mean.
No, I was saying that today we felt that there was a shortage of time. Like we had announced it for an hour and it went on for much more time like that.
Well, when did we announce it for an hour?
Well, we had...
That was the initial thing, right?
Yeah.
Sorry, it changed. Actually, it wasn't that I just went over the hour. We had actually changed it before that because I talked to the Ministry of Education and they said, make it as long as you like because it's going into a video and and I neglected to tell you that. And so I apologize for everyone who thought it was an hour because originally I think we had said that, but then we realized with all the, there was a lot of preparation coming up to the last minute and with all the artistic stuff, it took a lot of work actually. And then I think that we realized that it was going to be way longer than that. And then we got the green light. So I'll let you know from now on that when the floodgates are open. And unfortunately for everybody, they told me go as long as you like. So that's what happened.
No, Maharaj, we were happy that it went over. I'm just hoping that tomorrow's also will go over. So I was saying that.
I know you're happy. I was just kidding. But yes, tomorrow, depending on how long Maharaj can stay, how long Bhakti Raghava Maharaj can stay, and that type of thing, we'll just play it by ear. But okay. I would say it would be nice if we could have it for hour 20, hour and a half.
Okay.
Is that possible, Malini?
Yes, Prabhu. Yes, Prabhu. Whatever you say, it's possible.
I think that would be okay. Just to give everybody time, because it's an unprecedented circumstance, and there's a lot of great souls showing up. So let's extend it if we can.
Okay, thank you.
Any other things? I want to thank the Kirtan party for the Jamulus before the seminar, for bringing the transcendental vibration in. Hare Krishna.
We can announce it for 1.5 hours tomorrow because India is also there. It's late for them. So if we announce ahead of time, they can plan.
Okay.
So Malini Mataji, who would announce? Like, should we request Gandhavika Mataji to do it? Like, how do we reach the Indian audience? That's my question, because it's a global thing.
Mataji, we have already reached out and this is already circulated wide in India also. So for ISV, we have to send it tomorrow. Probably we have to send it today. Invitation.
Yeah. So we'll choose. Okay, that extending, like making it an hour and a half, right? So I'll let Gandhavika Mataji know about that so that it reaches. But I don't know whether she will reach all of India like that. So I was saying that maybe whoever is
that we will send a separate communication, Mataji, for India.
Yeah. Perfect.
Okay. Any other announcements? Sharirat Vijjaja Jorindriya Tahe Kaha Jive Pele Vishayasha Loba Moisu Durmati Take jita katita samsare Krishna bodo doyamoy Kori bare jihwajay Shah prasad Ādi-līlā Shayanamrita Radha Krishna Śrī Caitanya-Caritāmṛta Amritsari Govinde Nambrahmani Vaisesika Sarva Punya Patangajan Shasavadaya Sare Sarva Dukkanam Madhya Suvajayate Asana Cheta Suyashu Vipaya Vaste Tayopa Gupta Sakanda Prashadaki Goda Premanande Nitai Goda Haribol 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 Nitai Goda Haribol Nitai Goda Haribol Please come take Prashadam. Hari Haribol. Vanchakalpadruvischa kripasnabhevacha patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha.
Maharaj, you muted.
Hare Krishna.
Everyone unmute and please say Hare Krishna.
Hare
Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Krishna.
Hare
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
See you soon. Hari Bol.
Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna devotees, thank you all for attending today's class. We will
Thank
be
you so much.
shortly. And please stay tuned for tomorrow's program in the morning.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
how long do you have it for now? The morning program.